We have the Logitech G910 Orion Spark keyboard. What happens is that sometimes when I press the E, it gives me a double number. The W doesn't always work. When I play first-person shooters and I press to go forward, I need to sometimes move my finger around just to get it to read the key. Then it becomes progressively worse as it goes on. I've had an issue with the Y key as well. Sometimes my spacebar doesn't read. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it reads double. It's very peculiar. Updated all the software. Reverted back some of the drivers to all the drivers. It stays exactly the same. And even when I've got it plugged into my very old garage Dell that I used to make music in the shop, that doesn't have any of the Logitech software installed on it, and it's got Windows 7, I think. It still does the same. So it is either something with the software on the keyboard itself, or it is something mechanical on the keyboard. And these, at the end of the day, all switches on all keyboards are basically mechanical. Even if you've got the rubber dome switches, it's still something mechanical that goes down and makes the contact. On mechanical keyboards like this one, it's also a physical connection that's been made by 2 or 4 points to close the circuit, to be able to read the keystroke you made. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to open it up and see if maybe there's soldering joints that are loose or cold solder joints. It only started happening about almost 2 years after I bought the keyboard. So it could be maybe some fatigue on the keyboard itself. But let me show you what it does. I'm not going to use any screenshot software. We're just going to record the screen itself. So let me show you what happens. Okay, I think this is good. Let's see if I just press E a few times. You see. Okay, that second one was mine, but the first one was a double E. There it made again. There it didn't go at all. Double again. Nothing. Okay, let's see the W. Okay, that goes through every time. Let's just try to hold it in. Okay, it's working now. But as you could have seen, the E gives us issues. Let's see if we can recreate the E again. It comes and goes. I did contact Logitech. They gave me a whole list of stuff that I need to do. They plug it into a USB 2 port and not USB 3. Update the drivers, revert the drivers to old drivers, clean the keys, a lot of stuff. I did everything that guy told me to do. Didn't work. Logitech actually offers a 2-year warranty, and I thought that this keyboard was still in the 2 years, but I couldn't get the invoice where I bought it from. And then I found a picture that I took off my PC with the keyboard, which was more than 2 years ago. So I went out and buy a new G213 so I can keep continuing exploring in No Man's Sky and killing Protoss in StarCraft. But I think this keyboard compared to the 213 is completely in a league of its own. The 213 has only got 5 programmable places or zones that you can change the lighting on. So I'll show you quickly. You can skip this part if you want to get to the repair itself. So basically what this keyboard does is I can program every button for a certain color, for any color I want. It can even, and it works on different games. So when I start a game up, it automatically loads that profile for that game. So first person shooters, let's say this 4 will be red, and my reload button will be green, and my opening doors will be yellow, spacebar will be something, shift to run will be something. With the G910, I can change this part of the keyboard to any color I want, and then this part, and then this part, and then this part, and then the numbers. You can't program each one individually, so it's a bit stupid. Basically, it's just an expensive backlit keyboard, because it's stupid to have this rainbow colored thing, and you also don't have these programmable buttons on the G910. So I really want to use this keyboard and not the 213. So we're going to open it up and see what we can see. First, what we're going to do is we're going to take out the key caps. It's very easy. You just pull them straight out. Pull them out. I would suggest putting them in the order you took them out, because I mean it is logical. 1, 2, 3 on top. QWERTY is there, but when you get to stuff like this, it gets confusing on what was where, and especially these ones as well. Insert, home, page up, page down, end, and delete. By the end of this repair, we're probably not going to remember exactly if delete was here or delete was there. Maybe home was on this side, insert was on that side, whatever. So just put them in the order you took them out, and then we'll open the keyboard up. Once you took all the keycaps off, it's a great opportunity for you to clean in between the keys where you can't usually get to. I used a vacuum cleaner because it was mostly, I mean, people who have keyboards like this don't usually spill stuff on them. So it was all just dry dust and so on. So vacuum cleaner across every key, cleaned up all the dust and hair and so on nicely. The next step we want to do is we want to turn it over to open it up. What you can first do is this palm rest. You can take this palm rest off. It just basically clips off. No, you didn't see that, did you? You just bend it upwards, and then the palm rest comes off. Put it to the side, and then we've got the back of the keyboard here. So there's Phillips screws all over, and there's ones here at the bottom as well. This is top, this is the bottom. Just check underneath these feet, there's also a screw. Just lift it on this side up. Don't take the whole thing off, just lift that a little bit, and then you'll see the screw there. Then you can take it off. I can't remember, I have opened this before, I can't remember if there was a screw underneath here. Yes, there is, so unfortunately you're going to have to take that whole thing off. And then underneath these rubbers, there's no screws. You don't need to worry about that. So basically on this side, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on top there. There was nothing underneath here. And then here at the bottom, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you're going to have to keep them separate, as the ones on the top are longer. Let me show you. So if I take one of the top ones out, and I take one of the bottom ones out, you'll see there's a big difference in the size. So just remember, the smaller ones come at the bottom and the larger one comes on the top. So I'm going to remove them all, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so after you removed all the screws on the top part and the bottom part, you can take this black cover off on the bottom part. It just clips off. Okay, then you will see more screws in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I can see here that we need to take off. Okay, you can also remove this little plastic light diffuser. Just take it out. Once those screws are out, we can flip the keyboard over and then get with your fingers underneath here and start pulling that off, and it should come off relatively easily. Oh, you know, one thing that we forgot. If you pull out this tab, look, there's 2 more screws in there. Good thing I remembered that. They are the same length as the top ones. So we've got those ones out. Now we can turn it around. We'll continue taking off this cover here. Everywhere it just clips in, just make sure you don't break it somewhere. There you go. This whole cover comes off. And now we've got some screws holding this board in place. This one here at the bottom. This one here, so it's 2. Let's take that off. This one I'm taking off now is silver because I broke on my previous opening up. I broke a screw off here and I didn't make a video, so I wasn't certain what type of screws comes in here. And I had the silver one extra, so I put that there, but I didn't have another one. But anyways, take this one off. Now, yeah, at the top there's another diffuser that we can just take off so it doesn't get lost. And that is basically it. Here on the top we can remove these 2 screws, the silver ones. There's one, and there's one. Then we can remove this plug here. You might need some help with a screwdriver. It just pulls out. Just be very careful. There you go. Plug is out. You can get to that screw. And then there's a little small plug here for the volume wheel. Just pull that out. And let's see if we are into the thick of her. There you go. Now this whole PC board comes out. And we can flip it over and see the bottom and see the top. I see it wasn't really necessary to take out this plug because we want to test it now. But anyways, we'll put that back in. Okay, so now for the actual testing. On my keys, I can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be my tab key. Then QWERTY will start here. QWERTY. So if it's QW, then this is E. So this is one that gives us double taps, and the W, which I couldn't show you because I didn't do it at that time, sometimes doesn't engage. Now, if we turn this over, you can see all these points that are soldered on the back of this board. Is the contact points for each key. Now, if we go from the top, we've got the G keys, the programmable keys. Then we've got the F keys. Then we've got the number row. Then the QWERTY starts. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4th row. So you turn it over. 1, 2, 3, 4th row. Okay. And then on the 4th row, we've got another programmable key, tab, Q, E. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the fourth key from the top, fourth key from the side will be the W, and then next to it will be the E. So if we turn it around, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, W, and that will be E. Now we can take our multimeter and see what we can find. What we will see here. Put it on bell test. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be W. So let's leave it on that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's just make a good connection here. Press the W button. I don't like that tit. I'm pressing it slowly. Press a bit faster. You see there's a dead spot in between. Let's go to the E. And hear what the E does. Going quick. Okay, you may not hear the beep, but I can see the movement on the tester every time. Let's go slowly. There's also a double tap. So there's definitely something physically wrong with the switch. Now it doesn't go at all. So we will have to see. What I might do is just reheat these solder points. What I'm first going to do is I'm going to try to desolder these points and then see if the whole button comes out. I'm not very hopeful, as you will see there's a little bit of gray part on the inside of those buttons. That's the LEDs. So this is obviously a multi-layered PC board. So the LEDs are probably soldered on the top or somewhere in the middle, on one of the middle circuits, while the keys are on the back. So I don't know if I'm going to desolder the keys on the back, if the whole key will come out or not. Probably not, but I think it's worth a try. Let us see. I'm going to try something easy. With this G6 programmable button first, to see if it works on that before I go on to the E and W keys. Now maybe I see there's two components very close to this one. I'm rather going to do the G7 key and try to take it off. I'll tell you how it went. Okay guys, I'm very happy to report that just desoldering those 2 points on the back of the key does remove the whole key. I don't know if I'll be able to show you here, but you can see the LED is on this one side of the PC board, very small LED. So what is in here actually is just a lens and a diffuser on the inside, that little gray part you see there. So if we switch it around, you can see that on these 2 points, the only thing I did was desolder these 2 points that stuck out there, and then it was quite easy to get this whole key out. So this key, as far as I know, I don't use it often, but as far as I know, is still 100%. So I'm going to keep it out and then remove the W and E keys and see if I can spot the difference between them. So what I do, let's start with the W key. Let me just show you. We said it was 4 and 4, row 4 and 4. I've got my soldering iron, and you just check that it does melt the soldering, and it does. Okay. Now you've got your desoldering, I don't know, desoldering stick or whatever. So what it does is it's got a spring inside that pulls a plunger down. You can see it sticks out a little bit. Now there's a plunger on the inside. So when you press this button, the spring pushes this back up and it creates a suction here at the bottom. So if you've got wet solder there and you press it, it will suck up the wet soldering. So we've got to identify our key. Let's start with the W1. So we said 4 rows, 1 2 3 4th row, 1 2 3 4. So that's a W and that's the E. So I just add a little bit of solder there to make it to re-engage that solder, and then on this one the same. And then I take my desoldering sucker or whatever, solder sucker, put it over. Just make sure it's clean before you use it again. There you go. Now you can just check with a screwdriver if those points are loose. That one is loose. That one is loose. So we turn it over again. 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. That's a W key. So I just carefully put my screwdriver there, put it on that side. There you go. Out is a W key. So let's put them somewhere we will know. I'm going to put them on the computer. So first is a G7 key. Then it's a W key. And I'm going to do the same with the E. And then we can compare them and see what's on the inside. Okay, so we're going to try to see if we can figure out how these keys work. So obviously on the side here you can see it will be quite easy to open them up. So we just put a screwdriver underneath this blue tab and push it up a bit, very slowly and carefully with everything so you don't break anything. I don't think you can buy spares for these. We don't want any of these plastic to break. Okay, so now both of them are loose. Now we can pull this out. We'll see a screw, a spring in the back there. Take the spring out. Okay, now we can see the contacts on the inside. So let's take this white part out, because this is what does the work. Now if you put it in there, we can try. There's no way that I'm going to be able to show you exactly what happens. But anyways, here's a profile on the white plastic there. And it shifts in there and it rocks that. You can see how it moves. Let me see if I can get closer. I don't know if it's going to focus. You can see how it moves that one contact. So if we put the spring back on, basically what it does is it pushes it open, and then once it's past the open point, it closes again. Now there must be another action also going on there, because if we test this, let me just close this up so it doesn't jump around everywhere. Okay, so if you put the bell tester on there, if we put the bell tester on the points, you will notice it's not going through, but once you press it, it goes through. But now even with this one that wasn't faulty, we hear that double click. Let me take it off and use my fingers. Okay, press it. You can hear that double. And this is the one that is, we are quite certain is 100%. That's G7. So the W, no. And the E, okay, so I'm going to open them up and take a look, and then if I can see exactly how they work, I'll put that on camera. Okay, so I figured out these switches. What happens is these switches are normally closed. Normally closed. So if nothing's going on, nothing is pressed, there's no switch part in here, the spring is off, whatever. If we test between these 2 points, it will go through. So the profile on this white piece, you can see that there's a bump over there. So when this whole thing is assembled, when this black is on, the blue is on, the blue is holding that white down into this black body. When that happens, the contacts which is at the moment touching each other is there in the middle of this profile, and it stops it from touching each other, stopping from being closed. As soon as you press the switch in, that contact goes in this little nudge here, and then it makes contact again. And that happens exactly the same on the other side as well. So it's a double contact. So even if one of these two broke, it will still switch. We can test that by, as I just did, testing that the current goes through. Okay. Then there's the one contact point. Closer. There's the one contact point, that one, and then this one is the other contact point. So if I put a piece of plastic in between one of the contact points, okay, so it's not making contact now because there's plastic in between there. It will still go through. Now, this is the E button, by the way, the one that gave us double E's sometimes. Now, the only thing I can think of, if it is this physical switch that is broken, is that these profiles are maybe a bit worn out. It doesn't look like it, but on the tolerances we work with here, or they work with here, it's quite possible. Look at this one. It looks like there's a little bit of concave in there, and this one doesn't have it. That could very well make it press double. That on this part of the contact, you get a switching motion right before or right after this one did it. That's going to be very difficult to repair if that's the issue. I mean, it could be this physical issue. These keyboards have microcontrollers on themselves to help out with double switching. If you press 2 or 3 or 4 keys at the same time, it still needs to know which keys were pressed, and you've only got that many wires inside this cable. So they've got processors on themselves to send the correct signal to the PC. I'm not a computer guy, but I think that is quite accurate, but very, very, very simple way to explain it. So it's either these physical switches, which is broken or not working correctly, or it is the software on the keyboard itself, or the processing on the keyboard itself that is not working. There's not much I'm going to be able to do about the processing or the software on the keyboard. It's got the latest firmware on it, so looking at this white switch, you can clearly see there's an issue with that little profile over there. This one looks normal, the other one doesn't. If I were to open the G7 key, let's see the profiles on that. Let's put it on the side so we don't get mixed up. See the profile on this one? It's straight. Oh, bugger. This one also has it. Is it an issue or is that the design? We won't know unless we take out another one. But anyways, the only way I will be able to actually fix this is by changing my problematic keys with keys I almost never use. And in my case, that will be the G keys. I don't game that intensely that I need to set up macros on my games. So my G keys I don't normally use. So G1 through to G9. So the G7 is already out. I'm going to put the G7 in the spot of the E or the W. And then I'm going to take out the G8, I think. Take that out and put it in the spot of the whatever I didn't change, the E or the W. And the other issues I have is that the spacebar is also an issue. So I think I'm going to take out the G9 key then and replace the spacebar with the G9 key. And then we'll see. I did say that I've got an issue with the Y, but I don't use the Y that often. So I'll do that when I see it becomes a problem. But I'm going to switch over those keys and then we can test it again. So I've reinserted the spacebar W and E keys. So here are the original ones of them. So I'm just going to put them back in here where the G keys were. Just make sure that you'll see there's a rather more rectangular slot. These are a bit more squarish. The squarish ones comes on the side. So you just carefully put them in and let them latch. Same here. There you go. Third one. Okay. Turn it around. Then we've got all the points sticking out here through the holes. And then real simple soldering job. Okay, let's get a bit closer so you can see what it looks like. Very nicely done. There is my, let's go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here was the W and E keys, and then the space bar key is on top here. Now all that's left to do is put this whole thing back together. So we turn it around. Check that your rubber dome switches, that the rubber is actually on the spot where it should be. On this side we've got these ones. Just put it in nicely. you will see you can't put it in the wrong way. And we can make sure we've got this wire for the volume roller. We can just plug it in now. There you go. And basically reverse what we did. Put those silver screws back in there. 2 screws down here. Then don't forget about this diffuser that we took out on this side. Put that back in. Once that is done, we can put this cover back on. Flip it around. And we've got the screws on this side. Let me show you. I'm going to do it till there. And okay, the other side is in, so we can just put these screws back on this side. And then now you will remember that before we do this, remember that diffuser for the G910 logo. There we go. Okay, down there, remember these are the shorter ones that need to go in here. Okay, I'm going to put the top screws in. Okay, everything is stiff. As it should be. So all that's left now to do is put the keycaps back and then test it. I mean, I did test it now. It was off camera. I tested it before I put all the covers and so on back. Just plug it in again. Seemed to me like it's working fine. I can't assign keys to the G keys now that I changed over because I don't have the software on this PC. But I'll assign something to them when I'm back on my PC and see if they then give issues on the G keys. If they do, then we know it was definitely physically the buttons that was damaged, and that's then changing them over was the right decision. So I hope this does it. If those same keys give me issues again now in the next week or so, then they will definitely mean it's some issue with the firmware on the keyboard itself or some other mechanical issue. Maybe there's a line on the PC board that's broken, or some of the controller chips are not working or whatever, and that is something I will not be able to fix. I cleaned my keys when the Logitech guy told me to clean them, so it's not necessary for me, but now is a great opportunity before you put the keycaps back. Just check it on the side, clean it here on the side and on that side, before you put it back. Just be careful when you put it back. Just make sure everything is slotted in place before you press it down. Especially these longer ones, because the longer ones got this additional slots that needs to be aligned up. Keyboard, the spacebar especially. The only thing this does, this one and this one is connected. So basically when this one it gets pressed down, this one gets pressed down as well, and it will press this down. So if you were to hit the spacebar on this side, these two will pull the whole spacebar down to press the button in the middle, so that you've got the full length of the spacebar to use. You see, so if you press here, it goes a lot more uniformly down than it would have if it was only the one. If it was only the one button here in the middle, it would have seesawed over that button, and you would probably not press it when you press on this side. So those extra buttons on the side, like these ones, like those ones and those ones and those ones, allow the larger switches to press down even though you mispressed them from the middle. It's a nice touch actually. But that's it. Going to put the keys back, and then gonna connect it to my desktop. Remember the armrest if you want to put it back, but it does look a little bit ugly without the armrest. So I mean, the armrest just clips in here at the bottom. Just put it there, and it just clips on there. Okay, I hope this sorted out, and I hope it sorted out for you. Thanks for watching.